Welcome to the Conflict Zone, a channel dedicated to informing about major conflict points around the world.
In this video, we'll discussing the escalating exchange of threats between Iran and Israel, with the latest involving an Iranian threat of a possible ground invasion of Israel.
Don't forget to subscribe and click the notification bell to stay updated with all our latest news.
The past few days have seen rising tensions in the Middle East. On one side, Israel is threatening to strike Iran in retaliation for the missile attack launched by Iran on October 1st. On the other, Iran has warned it will counterattack if Israel follows through, with Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, declaring on Friday, October 4th, that Iran would flatten Tel Aviv and Haifa if Israel carried out its threats. Iranian military officials have also stated they would deploy troops to Lebanon and Syria, from where they could launch a ground invasion of Israeli territory. The last time Israel faced a full-scale invasion by regular armies was during the Yom Kippur War from October 6 to 25, 1973. In that conflict, Egypt and Syria, backed by expeditionary forces from Saudi Arabia, Algeria, Jordan, Iraq, Libya, Kuwait, Tunisia, Morocco, and even Cuba and North Korea, totaling around 800,000 soldiers, invaded Israel on Yom Kippur, the holiest day in Judaism. At the time of the surprise attack, around 70% of the Israeli military was on leave, with most soldiers spending the holiday with family, far from their bases. In the first days of the war, the Arab forces made rapid advances, taking advantage of Israel's low state of readiness. Egypt pushed into the Sinai Peninsula, advancing almost 20 kilometers in the first 24 hours, while Syrian forces in the Golan Heights encircled and destroyed 2 Israeli battalions. It wasn't until the third day of the invasion that Israel, having recovered from the initial shock, managed to reinforce its defenses and launch counteroffensives, gradually pushing the Arab armies back. Despite being outnumbered 2-1 and attacked on 2 fronts simultaneously, Israel's 400,000-strong military defeated the 800,000 Arab forces in just over 2 weeks. Israeli forces even penetrated Egyptian territory, halting 100 kilometers from Cairo, and in Syria, they captured 500 square kilometers of the Golan Heights, advancing to within 32 kilometers of Damascus. This was the third and final attempt by Arab nations to invade Israel. The first occurred in 1948, immediately following Israel's declaration of independence, and the second in June 1967, which was thwarted when Israel preemptively attacked, defeating an Arab invasion force of 500,000 with 250,000 Israeli soldiers. After these defeats, Egypt signed a peace agreement with Israel, effectively ending the threat of large-scale ground invasions. However, with Iran's recent threat, the specter of another ground invasion has re-emerged. Israel, a small country with a total area of only 22,770 square kilometers, takes such threats very seriously. So how could Iran carry out this threat? The answer lies in Iraq, Syria, and Lebanon. Syria, under the dictatorship of Bashar al-Assad and Hezbollah, which controls Lebanon's border with Israel, are key allies of Iran's theocratic regime. Iran has long used Iraq and Syria as transit routes for weapons, ammunition, and supplies to Hezbollah, allowing them to attack Israel from Lebanon. Therefore, if Iran's invasion threat were to materialize, Iranian forces would likely strike from 2 fronts, one from Syria, targeting the Golan Heights in a strategy reminiscent of the Yom Kippur War, and another from Lebanon, where Iranian forces would bolster Hezbollah's more than 100,000 fighters. The Iranian commanders currently at the top of the military hierarchy were junior officers or soldiers during the brutal Iran-Iraq War in the 1980s, a conflict marked by massive infantry assaults, resulting in nearly 500,000 military casualties on both sides over the course of 8 years. This means Iran's current leaders are experienced in deploying and maneuvering large infantry contingents, making the Iranian invasion threat more serious. Of course, preparations for an invasion involving tens or hundreds of thousands of troops would not go unnoticed, but if such an attack were accompanied by heavy rocket and missile fire, such as the barrage Iran demonstrated on October 1st, it could compromise Israel's northern borders and the Golan Heights. This is a risk Israel's leaders are taking very seriously, However, the escalating threats between Iran and Israel cannot be analyzed without considering a crucial factor. Israel's strategic allies, particularly the United States and its powerful military apparatus. Since the creation of Israel, the U.S. has been one of its strongest and most influential allies, providing military, financial, and diplomatic support. The military alliance between the two nations is one of the strongest in the world, with the U.S. supplying advanced weaponry and military technologies, including cutting-edge defense systems. The Iron Dome missile defense system, developed with U.S. financial backing, has been crucial in intercepting rocket and missile attacks from groups like Hezbollah and Hamas. In the event of an Iranian ground invasion, Israel would almost certainly receive direct and indirect U.S. military support. This could include the shipment of additional defense equipment, bolstering of air defenses, and, in a worst-case scenario, the deployment of U.S. troops to the region. Additionally, U.S. military presence in the region, with bases in the Persian Gulf and countries such as Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, and Qatar, positions the U.S. to quickly intervene should these threats escalate into actual conflict. American naval fleets, including aircraft carriers, routinely patrol the eastern Mediterranean and the Gulf, ready to project power and defend its allies. Other Western allies of Israel, like the United Kingdom and France, also maintain strong diplomatic and military ties with the Jewish state, and could be expected to offer support in the event of an escalation. While NATO would not be directly involved, it could be drawn into the situation given its alliance with the U.S. and the strategic importance of stability in the Middle East. Thus, while the Iranian threat of a ground invasion is being taken seriously by Israel's leadership, a key part of Israel's strategic calculus is the knowledge that they would not be fighting alone. The formidable military strength of the U.S., combined with Western allies, acts as an additional shield that Israel could rely on to defend itself and launch counterattacks in any scenario of Iranian aggression.
If you're not yet subscribed to the channel, make sure to do so and hit the notification bell to stay updated with the latest news. See you in the next video.